Welcome back. Well, on this episode, we'll analyze the Q1 2022, that's first quarter 2022 earnings of Chemical and Allied Products PLC, that's CAP. We'll analyze that of UACN and TRANSCORP Nigeria, and we'll also look at the Q2 earnings of Vitafoam. Now, these are the companies that we'll be analyzing on the show today. Let's start with CAP, that's Chemical and Allied Products PLC. Now, when we look at the revenue generated, the picture will come up right now. Okay, so for Q1 2021, Chemical and Allied Products PLC generated 2.12 billion naira, and Q1 2022 they generated 4.66 billion naira. Now the percentage change is 119.11%. Now let's look at profit after tax. We see that they generated 203. They had 203.39 million naira as profit after tax in Q1 2022. In Q1 2021, in Q1 2022, they had 531.30 million naira. Now, when we look at the percentage change, what we see is 161.22%. When we look at the earnings per share, we see 0 naira, well, that's 26 kobo. And then for the 2022, we see that they had 67 kobo. Now, looking at the profit margin, for 2021, it was 9.43%, and for 2022, it was 11.41%. Now, if you ask me, what we see there is 119.11% increase in revenue between, 2021 and 2022. Mr. Curfy, can you tell us what exactly do you think CAP did differently to achieve this result? That's over 100% increase in revenue.
You see, what this company shows you, it shows you that the essence of merger. You remember, CAP before they are different from the Portpet company. Now they merge with the Portpet, they exchange with the shares, and now it shows to the world that the best way to grow is through merger and acquisition. Because the turnover increasing by 100%, it testifies you that the merger was successful. And now for the profit to increase by more than 1.5 times the increase in the turnover, it shows you the management are very prudent, and that is the essence of acquisition. They have acquired Portpet, they have removed all the bottleneck, and now it translates into increasing of the profit margin much higher than what was it before. And it shows to the rest that the only way to go is to go by acquisition merger. The second issue is that even though it pay 1 naira dividend below the dividend that they have been paying, and that what made the market trading around 18, 19 naira, but I can tell you, this company is in the way restoring back to their profit price, because before they were trading around 28, 29. And with this performance, it shows you that is the only way. So for those who have no CAP in their portfolio, this is a testimony that take CAP as part of your portfolio because it meets all these things. And then forget that the more construction is going on, the more people are getting money, and the more people are renovating their houses through paint, by painting their houses and making it new.
All right, I think that's a good place to stop. Thank you so much, Alhaji. Well, my senior analyst.
I think I need to.
I like that. I mean, it's a pleasure having my senior analyst here with me.
Okay, you mean
my senior reporter.
Okay, Perpetua. Well, I think to add up to what Mr. Kofi said, yes, if you look at, yes, apart from the merger and acquisition that have taken place, which was successful, and that's why you're seeing the impact, you also need to look at the what is driving this revenue as well in terms of operations and activity. Like he mentioned, slightly there, which of course is about constructions, people renovating. But in recent time, or in the last 1 year, I think we've had, more like a boom, okay, in the real estate sector. We've seen people building houses, we've seen constructions, we've seen housing projects, exactly, across the state. And so the more people continue to build houses and construct, the more people who would like to patronize them. And I think to an extent, it's a competitive market as well. I mean, I don't want to mention some, companies who they are competing with now, so that it doesn't become advertorial for them. But if you look at some of the sector, they have different companies that are into paint production, chemicals, and all of that, all what have you. And so I'm sure that they have increased their sales, okay, over time, and that's why you are seeing, as a result of demand for their product, and that's why you are seeing that their revenue has gone up. And if you look at the profit after tax, like Mr. Kofi has said, it's very, very impressive. But what next for this company? I think they need to improve more on the operation in terms of dividend, so that it can impact, because what will attract more investors to come into the market to buy their shares and all of that is the fundamentals. How strong are they? What dividend are they paying? What is the earning price or earning per share of the company, and all of that? They have to look at all of that going forward. I think these are some of the things they need to work on.
All right, thank you. Well, let's check out Vitafoam. For Vitafoam, we are looking at the Q2 2022. It's the Q2 because their year ended in September, so that's why we're looking at the second quarter at this point in time. So for Vitafoam, let's look at the second quarter 2021. The revenue was 18.63 billion naira. And in the second quarter 2022, it was 25.34 billion naira. What we see there is a 35.35% change. For the profit after tax, 2021, it was 2.49 billion naira. And then in Q2, we saw 3.61 billion naira. That gives us a 45% change. Now for the earnings per share, 2 naira 37 kobo, and then for 2022 2 naira 89 kobo. Then for the profits margin, what we see is 13.37%, and then 2022 Q2, that's the second quarter 2022, what we see is 14.26%. Now, looking at Vitafoam, it's definitely increased its revenue by 35.35%, and then the PAT, that's the profit after tax, was also increased by 45%. Olumi, what's your take on this performance?
Yes, thank you so much. An excellent performance for Vitafoam. Some 2 years ago, Vitafoam would not do past 5 naira. You can see where the current price is, and for a company to have closed Q2 with profit after tax of this magnitude and an earnings per share of 2 naira 89 kobo, what that says to me is in another 2 months, in another 2 quarters rather, this company should be doing like an earnings per share of say 5 naira 70 kobo. And I tell you, if you look at the manufacturing sector, companies that do so very well, like we see with this kind of result, you can see what their prices are. See flour mills, see Guinness, see Nigerian breweries. So I see this stock resting between about 30 naira before the year ends. And I say to you, don't forget that we are having population increase on a daily basis. Nigerians are growing, the numbers are growing, and you are seeing that the paint sector, this cap that was just recently analyzed, you can see that buildings are coming up, and of course, as much as buildings are coming up, you need furniture to make it more habitable and give that relaxing mood. So you can see the market is still growing, and the product is an excellent product. So I see Vitafoam doing better than we have even seen into the future.
Okay, thank you, Olumi. I think that would be a good place to stop this one. For me, there is this question I feel it's important to address, and that's talking about profits margin. What should the ideal or the winning profits margin be? Because you look at a lot of these earnings.
Hello.
Can you hear me, Olumi? Well, I'm talking to Mr. Kofi now. Mr. Kofi, can you hear me? All right.
Hello?
So
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, yes, since you can hear me. So I was asking, what should be the ideal profits margin? What is that winning profits margin?
Well, the profit margin we see for Vitafoam now is slim. And what that says to you is that they need to work up more around
All right, we lost connection there. Well, he was just talking about the fact that for him it is slim, and that was exactly why I asked that question, because I have noticed that to a very large extent, some of the, when you look at a lot of these companies, you look at the profit margin, it's usually between, you know, 10, 11, 12, 15, thereabout, and then, so I mean, I started asking, what would be the ideal profit margin really?
Now you need to look at, you know, the operations of this particular company, and before you can even talk about the ideal profit margin, you look at the cost of operation first. Look at the gross revenue, you know, that came in, and then from there you can now begin to look at the cost. Okay. From the cost, you can deduct your from the revenue, gross revenue, deduct your cost. Once your cost is deducted, then you can now look at your net profit. And then from there, you can deduct your tax. And once your tax is deducted, you can look at your profit.
Okay, my question actually is,
yes, of course, that's where I'm going.
The profit margin
what
thing.
Should
What's
be ideal?
the ideal
yes.
margin?
Yes, that's
after
where I'm going.
Deducting all of these things.
Yes. So the ideal will now be dependent on exact cost, okay, that was you know, expended
okay,
all through their operation, their financial year. So how much did it cost? If they compare it to last year and it was low, then you cannot really you know, blame whether the profit margin was more or not. So, but you need to look at the difference between the cost of operation compared to last year and this year.
All
then
right,
you can now arrive at,
let me put in here. I think
yeah.
we just have to very quickly move on to UAC Nigeria. We're looking at their first quarter 2022 reports. For revenue, they had 22.02 billion naira, and then in first quarter 2022, they had 27.69 billion naira. We see the percentage change to be 25.63%. Then for the profit after tax, they had 668.56 million naira in first quarter 2021. Then for first quarter 2022, they had 638.75 million naira. And what we see there is minus 4.46. Now that's in the negative, if you ask me. And then for the earnings per share, we see 23 kobo, and then for 2022 Q1, we see 22 kobo, 23 in 2021, 22 in 2022. The profit margin is 3.04%, 2021 Q1, while in 2022 we see 2.31%. Now, for me, I'll say that considering the profit after tax and profit margin, we see an increase in the top line, but of course there's a decline in the bottom line, and I'd like Mr. Kofi to address this.
Well, my concern about UACN, I think they have not got it right up to now. They have a big problem in the managing that, because this is a company that undergot so many restructuring, but despite all this restructuring, did not translate it into much profit. Remember, even last year when they paid the dividend, part of its capital appreciation due to the selling some of their subsidiaries, and part of it due to the operation. So it shows me that still that confidence the investor wants to restore on UAC is not there. Because I remember the last time they did their right issue, it's around 17 naira. Today I talk of 11 naira. So it still have more room to grow. And therefore, we are saying that UAC, they have to check back, look at their management, and look at what they need to do to restore their position to what they were before.
Mr. Kofi, are you still there? All right, very quickly, let's go to the last one. That's TRANSCORP Nigeria. For TRANSCORP Nigeria, Q1 2021, revenue was 24.44 billion naira. And then first quarter 2022, revenue was 31.89 billion naira. That's a 28.46% change. For profit after tax in Q1 2021, 2.04 billion naira, while in Q1 2022, it was 5.04 billion naira. We see a 146.69% change. Now, this is a very big one, a whopping 146.69% increase. Olumiwa, in wrapping up, really, what do you have to say about this result? All right, I guess we lost connection with Olumiwa there. Mr. Kofi, can you hear me? Mr. Kofi, can you
What
hear me?
I will say for TRANSCORP beyond perform excellently. And that is why you see the market is rewarding it. Today is trading around 1 naira 30 kobo from 89 kobo. Yes. Despite the low dividend, I have not seen a company that paid 2 kobo for a 37 kobo annual, less than 10%. But despite that one, the markets see goodwill in this company, and very soon I see this stock trading between 2 to 3 naira.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, but very quickly, let's have your thoughts so we can end the conversation on this note.
Okay, yes. Okay, I commenced my analysis before internet performed like it normally would do. So this result from TRANSCORP is beautiful. It's still the best I've seen in the recent. And I say to you, the best is yet to come for TRANSCORP. I expect it to trade between 250 and 3 naira in not too distant a time. A good result, but I hope I can, if I have an access to the managers of TRANSCORP, I should encourage them to do better as regards dividend payout. But on the other hand, I believe a lot of returns are being deployed back into the business to make it better. But let's just keep our fingers crossed and see how things pan out. But TRANSCORP is a stock to watch, is a future stock, and I will encourage investors to have it in their portfolio. All
right, thank you so much, Olumoyiwa, for your thoughts. Thanks for coming on the show, Olumoyiwa.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Kofi Garba, thank you so much for coming on the show, and thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you.
All right, and of course,
Senior Anchor, I think I will just look at just a quick one with what they said.
We don't have the time to do that now. Yes,
but I think it's a good buy. Perhaps, like they said, investors will have to look the way of TRANSCORP.
All right, thank you so much for your thoughts on the show.
It's a pleasure.
All right, well, we'll draw the curtain at this point. Many thanks for watching. I am Perpetua Fasomi Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.